me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Sunday Night Football Overtime. Rams, Niners, NFC West family business. If these two teams said they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. NFC West family business, I might add in. A lot of us really don't know about how this business is really conducted. And I actually, even though this is not my family business, I try to keep my nose out of business that does not pertain to me. I know a little bit about this family business, and I slipped up tonight. I'm not happy about it. I'll talk about it tomorrow. I won't dwell on it now, but big win for the 49ers as they get the win 24-16 over the Rams. Rams dropped to 4-2 on the season. Meanwhile, the 49ers get back to 500 on the season at 3-3. And there are a ton of questions leaving this football game because if you're a Rams fan, you have to say to yourself, hey, we love the start. 4-2, that's great. Could have been 5-1. Let one slip through our fingers today. Let one slip through our fingers a few weeks ago against Buffalo, whatever the case may be. But you've beaten the NFC East. Those are your 4 wins. That's not something you're jumping up and down, screaming off the rooftops about. And the 2 teams that you've played outside of that division, you lost. So there are some questions there with this Rams team. I still think they're a good football team. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later on in the show. But this was a great bounce back win for the 49ers. They were drubbed 43-17 at home to the Miami Dolphins a week ago. A lot of questions leaving that game. Jimmy Garoppolo gets benched, more so because of the injury, not because of necessarily the play. He did not play well. But the play necessitated that the injury was the problem, and we got to sit you down. We don't want you to get hurt further because we need you. As we've already seen, not going to be able to turn to Nick Mullins and get victories. Don't want to put C.J. Beathard out there. We need you healthy. You can talk all the shit you want about Jimmy Garoppolo. He's the best you got. And I'm a Jimmy Garoppolo fan. You guys know that. You've watched me long enough. I make enough excuses for Jimmy because I know the talent is there. Now, Jimmy will have some games that'll make you shake your head, but Jimmy's got talent. You can sit there, again, talk all the shit you want about Jimmy Garoppolo. There's a reason the man hasn't lost 2 consecutive starts in his career. Now, in 30 straight starts to start his career, hasn't lost 2 in a row. That's some Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers type bullshit right there. Neither one of those guys. I think I saw that list. I don't think either one of those guys were on that list. I could be wrong. Brady may have been on that list. I can tell you this much. There's a reason. Don't talk to me about the defense and that's why he's on this list. He's got to play well for them to win. He was outstanding tonight. You know, that throw to Kittle on that 4th down with pressure in his face, put it right on the money so Kittle could go and get it and get away from the defender. This guy was outstanding tonight. And look, the 3 touchdown passes is a little bit exaggerated. When you look at his numbers, 2 of them were shovel passes, I believe. One was the shovel to Deebo Samuel that got in. I'm trying to think about the other touchdown pass. I know the Kittle one on the 4th down. I'm trying to think of that last touchdown pass. I can't think of the last touchdown pass. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he was outstanding tonight. They needed him to step up. He did step up. The defense stepped up. You know how I am. I love Jason Verrett. I've been a massive Jason Verrett fan coming out of TCU. I love this guy's game, and his injuries really beset his career. And I kept saying, man, I told Washington a couple of years ago, give this guy a look. And I remember him getting hurt again last year and thinking to myself, this guy's never going to be, it's a shame. His career is never going to be what it was supposed to be because this guy is ridiculously talented, but we'll never see it because of injuries. And we know a lot of guys like that. We've seen plenty of guys like this come through the league, and we see the talent. We know it's there. They give us a little taste, and then injuries take over, and you never really get the best of what that guy had to offer because of injuries. We're starting to see the old Jason Verrett show back up, and it's a pleasure to watch. I've talked about this guy all season long. If you have been following me on the podcast when we've been breaking these games down on Monday, I've been talking about Jason Verrett all season long and how this guy has been playing phenomenal football for this 49ers team. And you saw it again tonight, man. This guy is locked in, and it's coming back to him. And if he gets back to where he was and can stay healthy, they got themselves a lockdown. He's not just a good corner. He's a lockdown. Chargers fans love this kid. I loved Jason Verrett. And if he gets back to being right and stays that way, this guy is elite. He's only 29. And that's not a normal 29. He's really 25. He's the equivalent of like Aaron Rodgers. We look at Rodgers and we say, man, Aaron's up there at age. Aaron's like 30, whatever, 36, 37, 38. But Aaron didn't play the first 3-4 years. So it's like his 38 isn't the same as a Brady's 43 or a Breeze's, 39 or whatever, or 41. Like, it's different when you haven't incurred the bumps and bruises and the wear and tear that the NFL puts on your body and your mental over the years. Now, he's had injuries, and that'll age you faster than anything else. But he looks good, man. And he's playing top-notch football. Had a pick. That was a big pick, too, because not only did he get the pick, but it turned out to be a touchback. Because you go for it on 4th down with that situation, thinking that if we don't get it, they'll be pinned up against the 2-yard line, and we'll be able to try to get a stop. You get that pick, now it's a touchback. They're out to the 20. They end up getting a 1st down or 2, and it flips the field position all over again. So he was massive in this game. Jason Verrett is awesome. I love him, and he was outstanding. I thought that Kyle Shanahan called a magnificent game. You saw what they wanted to do. They wanted to run it in this game. There was no secret. Protect Jimmy. Let's not put Jimmy out there to throw it 47 times. When he needed to throw it, he threw it. He still threw it 33 times. But 17, I think Mostert had something like 15, 16 first half carries. I mean, he got the football a ton early in this game, got injured, and they continued to hand it off. They used Hasty, the young rookie out of Baylor, and then a lot of Deebo Samuel, a lot of quick hitters to the Brandon Ayuk and guys like that. So they did a really good job of getting it out of Jimmy's hands quickly, not allowing him to stay back there, be a sitting duck. And they did the thing, and this is why family business is fun to watch, because they know how to handle Aaron Donald. Like last week, and that's the thing that was funny. Everybody's, oh man, Rams, 8 sacks last week. I'm like, Washington's stupid. They're dummies. That's why they're 1-5, because they don't understand that Aaron Donald is a game wrecker, and you got to double team him at all times. I don't give a shit how they try to set it up. You got to double team his ass. They didn't do it. And so he went ape shit. The 49ers like, look, we ain't playing that shit with you, Aaron. We know you. You're a family member. We've seen this shit from you before. We ain't having it. They just doubled his ass. Aaron was a non-factor tonight because they know him. They know what he's capable of, and they will not allow him to do what it is he is capable of doing on their watch. And that's what family members do. They keep your ass in check. You can talk all that shit you want. You can do all that crazy stuff out there against visitors and people that don't know. But when you come to the family, we know your ass. We know your tendencies. We know what you like to do. And we're going to shut that shit down. And that's what they did tonight. Had a great game plan for him. A 2-on-1 all night. All night long. All night. Oh. All night long. All night. All night. 2 on his ass. Non-factor. So I thought that was an excellent game plan. And it never hurts when you got George Kittle out there. Just get it to 85. Let him do the rest. That guy's an animal. 7 catches, $109, touchdown. He was outstanding all night long as well. I told you Deebo Samuel is a difference maker. They missed him the first, 3 or 4 weeks of the season when he was out with that hand injury. And him coming back, getting Ayuk now into the rhythm and flow of things, getting Kittle in there. They got a lot of stuff, man. I like the 49ers. They're not buried in dead. Now, the schedule looks pretty damn daunting. And they're going to have to be more consistent than they have been to start off this season. But if they can play like they did tonight, complementary football, defense do your job, offense do just enough, they can be dangerous still. We'll see about this team. I'm not giving up on them. They're going to be competitive. They're going to compete. They're going to be in some ball games. They're going to have a chance to win. Will they be able to make the plays down the stretch like they did tonight? For example, they needed that stop. Or they needed that first down to not allow the Rams. They just scored a touchdown. Don't give them back the football. Don't allow them to get back into this game potentially and have a chance to go down the field and tie it up with a 2-point conversion if they get in the end zone. Don't put yourself in that position in the game. And so they did. Here you go, Deebo. Do your thing. And he did. Like, those are winning plays in winning time. Can they continue to make plays like that moving forward? We'll see. For the Rams, the story of the game was missed opportunities. You had opportunities in this game. For whatever reason, Cooper Kupp and Jared Goff simply weren't on the same page in this game, and it hurt you dearly. You got the deep ball over the top where it was a solid ball. It wasn't the best ball because the way Kupp ran that seam route, he was running towards the goalpost, and Goff needed to lead him towards the middle of the end zone. Instead, he threw it out towards that left pylon, so on that side of the field, made him turn over his shoulder again, and he lost the football. You got to hit that. And most times, we see the Rams execute there. They don't miss those opportunities. They don't take a bunch of deep shots. That's not how their offense is set up. They're set up to get those chunk plays, but they're usually intermediate chunk plays. 15, 17, 19, 21, 17, 15. They're looking to get those types of chunks. When they run play action, they're not necessarily looking for the 55-yarder. Now, if it comes, they'll take it, obviously, but they're looking for the chunk plays to continue to move the football down. They don't want a 14-play drive. They want a 7-play drive. And that's what those chunks usually do. When you go play action fake and you get those backers to suck up, right behind them is that 16-yard chunk you're looking for, that dig route, that deep over route. It's right there. And that's what they're usually looking to bite off. Well, that was an opportunity to take a shot and hit the big ball over the top, and they missed it. Then you get another time on a third down where Goff has the ball in his hands. I thought Kupp had the ball in his hands, and he dropped it. I thought Goff could have gotten it to him sooner. Felt like Goff waited. Like as soon as he came out of that break, the ball should have been there. Goff almost like hitched a bit and then threw it, and that allowed the defender to get back into the play. Kupp looked like he was going to drop the ball anyway, but that defender made sure that ball wasn't going to be caught. He needed to throw that a little sooner, but that ball needs to be caught. Kupp usually catches that. The best part of waking up is usually the Rams' Cooper Kupp. Well, it wasn't today. For some reason, that was a really cold Kupp tonight. It was a really cold Kupp. Normally, the best part of waking up is the Rams Cooper Kupp. And normally you gotta, it's hot. That Kupp is hot. Watch it. Watch your lips. Ooh, watch your lips. It's a little hot. That was some cold Kupp. That was a cold cup of Joe today. Not what we've been used to seeing from those two. Missed some opportunities in this football game. It cost them. And I also thought that when I looked at the way that they did things in this game, there were some missed opportunities, some drop balls, guys not taking advantage of opportunities. What's also funny is the Rams, in particular Jared Goff, he struggles against these 49ers. And that's what I talked about, knowing this family business. If you're not sure, and this is why I'm mad at myself, because I know Jared Goff struggles against the 49ers. He always does. The numbers that he put up tonight, these are customary numbers against the 49ers. They do something to him. They make him uneasy. They make him uncomfortable. These are normal numbers versus the 49ers for Jared Goff. I know this to be a fact, and yet I still went and picked the Rams, even though I knew that they were very capable and probably going to lose this game. And that's why I'm mad at myself. And I'll talk about that tomorrow on the podcast. But he was not sharp as I normally know he can be. But that's what the 49ers do to him. But, when you look at those numbers, some of those numbers are misleading because, again, some of these were drops. Some of these were, Cooper Kupp not making plays where he normally makes plays. This wasn't a sharp game by the Rams offensively. I thought they ran it well, though, with Henderson. I thought he ran it really well. They did some really good things in the run game. But they didn't take advantage of the run being effective by going play action fake and getting those chunks like they normally do. He missed an open Gerald Everett on the pass that Jared Goff over the middle of the football. There were opportunities in this game, and we usually see this team take advantage, and they didn't in this game. And again, that's the effect of the 49ers on Jared Goff. Thought it was a really good game by Robert Saleh. A nice bounce back after last week where poor Brian Allen, I talked about it on the podcast, the Dolphins went after him. Well, they didn't have to put him on the field. They got Emmanuel Mosley back, and he was massive on the other side of Jason Verrett. So this team, they're still dangerous, all the 49ers. They're not the same 49ers because they don't have all the defensive studs, up front. But this is still a dangerous team, and they showed that tonight. Took care of some family business. Keeps them alive in that division, keeps them alive in the NFC. This was a big win for them. Tough loss for the Rams. They're now 4-2. And again, a lot of questions about this team. Again, your 4 wins have come against teams that are nowhere near 500 on the season. None of them are. Okay, worst division in football by far. And the 2 games you played outside of the division, you were getting your ass handed to you by the Bills for all of 3 quarters, and then made a miraculous comeback, and then ended up not being able to get it done. And then you have a situation where this game, I never felt like they were going to win this game. And, after the start that the 49ers jumped out to 14-0, I never really felt like they were coming back to win this football game. Even the block extra point, it was kind of ominous. Like, I just never felt like they seemed comfortable in this game. They just felt overmatched from the jump. And I don't know. There's something with this Rams team. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I'm not really sure. I don't think anybody's sure about this Rams team yet. Some people think they're not for real and legit. I can't argue that right now because I don't know. I think they're a good football team. I told you I have them making the postseason. We'll see. I still think when it's all said and done, they're a good football team and they're going to find a way to make the postseason. But, it's games like this that make you stop and pause and say, how good are you really, Los Angeles? How good are you? Seriously. So, anyway, I digress. Let's get to some of your comments. JCamman99 says, with all these upsets, Bills will definitely beat the Chiefs tomorrow night, right? No, absolutely not. And here's why. Had the Chiefs come into the game undefeated and weren't on high alert, yeah, I would say, man, they're set up for a nice beatdown tomorrow. But they're pissed off. They lost to the Raiders last week. They're on high alert now. Now they're looking like, okay, we got to bounce back. How many times you seen Mahomes lose back-to-back games in his career? Speaking of which, not very often. So, again, I just don't see you guys getting it done. But I've been wrong about the Bills before. I want to see how resilient that team is. That was their first loss. And they got their asses handed to them against the Titans on Tuesday night. So I want to see how they bounce back. It's going to be an interesting game for sure. Niners fan says, I'm not going to lie, didn't expect us to win this one. If we go 2-2 this next stretch, get to 5-5, then maybe we have a shot at a playoff push. But until then, I'm not convinced. And again, winnable games. New England isn't scaring anybody. The Patriots are exactly who I thought they were before the season when I said they were going to go 8-8. They're now 2-3 on the season. They're offensively challenged. I thought they would be with Cam Newton. That game in week 2 versus the Seahawks was a mirage because the Seahawks can't stop anybody. At that time, we didn't know the Seahawks had a defensive problem and that they would give it up against just about anybody. If you had any kind of competency offensively, you can move the football on Seattle. We didn't know it at the time. Now we do. So now that week 2 performance where Cam Newton threw for 397 and they scored 30 points, that was a mirage. This is more along the lines of who the Patriots are. 12 points against a really solid Broncos defense. 21 points against a very solid Miami Dolphins defense. That's more along the lines of who the Patriots are. Not the 30-point outburst they had a few weeks ago versus the Seattle Seahawks. And not the 6 points or whatever they put up against the Raiders. Like 2 of those touchdowns were aided by the defense and special teams. That's not who they are. They're closer to the 12-point performance we saw today and a lot further away from the 30-point performances we've seen against the Raiders and the Seahawks. So you got a shot to beat them. And then I saw Seattle up there and, some other tough teams, Green Bay. If you can play some defense, you have a shot. That's all you can ask for. The Saints, I think I saw the Saints up there as well. They're not the same Saints right now. Maybe by the time you see them, they've gotten their mojo back. They're not the same Saints. You can win 2 out of your next 4. Get to 5-5. There's a realistic possibility because I think you could beat the Patriots next week. So that's a realistic possibility that you can do that. We'll see what happens. Niners fan also says, honestly, we're very capable of winning against the Packers, Saints, Seahawks, and Patriots, but this offense has to be more consistent. I won't give you all 4 of those. I can't see myself allowing you guys to win all 4 of those, but I think you could definitely beat the Saints and the Patriots. The Packers, if you play the type of defense you played today, you'll have a shot, but you're going to have to get pressure. I didn't really feel like Jared Goff was under siege tonight. Just thought your secondary was phenomenal. You're going to have to get pressure because Rodgers, you saw it today. You get pressure on Rodgers, you can affect him. They don't have a ton of weapons out there. We've established that already. Everything's sweet, and when it's going great, and nobody's getting to Rodgers, Robert Tonyan is able to eat your ass alive, and all these other guys are able to come alive. But when shit gets tough and the pressure starts to mount, we saw last year with this 49ers team, we saw today with the Bucks, you can get to Rodgers, you can shut that offense down and completely turn the faucet off. So you'll have a shot in that Packers game if you can get to Rodgers. But the way you allowed the Rams to run the football tonight, the Packers have been running the football really well. They ran it well against Tampa Bay today. They just fell behind and had to go away from the run. You're going to have to stop the run a lot more effectively. If they are able to run it the way the Rams ran it tonight, I don't know if you'll beat the Packers, but I can tell you this. You'll have a chance against the Saints, Seahawks, and the Patriots. You'll have a chance in every one of those games, and the Packers too. It's just, like you said, how consistent is the offense, and you're going to have to do a better job of stopping the run against every one of those teams, because all those teams like to run the football. And if you can't stop the run, you will be in for a long day. Niners fan also says, this win kind of reminded me of when the Rams beat the Seahawks last year on Sunday Night Football. That win led them to make a late playoff push, and I think it might do the same for us. It's an early game in the season, so I don't want to get too carried away with making those types of declarations. It's still early. Still early. We're talking about a 3-3 ball club, 10 games to go in the season. You make that kind of statement when you're 6-6, and now you're back to 500, and you got 4 games left on the season. Now you're talking about a late playoff push. We're still too early to be talking about you making playoff pushes and things of that nature 6 weeks into the season. Reese says, that is what you call a signature victory, Lou. A statement. How do you like us now? This is going to inspire the team moving forward. Go Bucks. That was a massive win. As you mentioned, that was a signature victory. That was an outright ass thrashing. And I didn't see it coming, especially after the 10-0 start. I thought this was going to be, I didn't think they were going to blow you out, but I thought this was going to be a ball game. And then the onslaught in the second quarter, 28-0 in that second quarter. And then to continue to score and end up scoring 38 unanswered points. It was, wow. Didn't see that one coming. Reese says, today is my birthday, Lou. I am 26. Do you have any advice for me as I inch closer to age 30? Enjoy these years, man. Just enjoy it. Enjoy life. You're young. You got a lot of time ahead of you. Don't do anything you don't want to do. That's my best advice to you is take this time. I'm assuming you don't have any kids. You don't have any responsibilities other than yourself. Enjoy life. That's what I would tell you. But also at the same token, figure out what it is you want to do. I'm hoping you've already done this. But if not, figure out what you want to do with your life. Because you have the opportunity to act on it now while you don't have any other responsibilities. Figure out what it is you want to do with your life and act on that now. Because as you get later on in life, you don't want to turn back and start talking about the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, and I wish I would have done this. I remember telling, and I always tell the youth, and I tell the kids this all the time, look, have a plan and execute. Because once you get out of high school, and I know you're past that stage, you're 26 now, but once you get out of high school, time flies. Before you know it, you're 22. Next thing you know, you look up, you're 25. And you're 7 years removed from high school and you ain't done jack shit. And time is just flying. Time waits for no man. Take advantage of this time. And if you do have kids already at 26, which is perfectly fine, figure out what it is you want out of life. It's all about leaving a legacy in life. That's what you should be after. That's my goal, is leaving a legacy where you impact others positively. So start figuring out how you're going to leave your impact. And I didn't mean to get all deep on you, but enjoy life though. You're 26, bro. Enjoy it. Once those 20s pass by, you're like, damn, man, I'm getting old. I'm getting up there. Once you get to 30 and you start seeing those years tick by, enjoy life, man. You got the whole rest of your life ahead of you. Enjoy it. But at the same time, start devising that plan that's going to help you build a future for yourself and your family and put you in a position to leave a legacy, a lasting legacy. Anyway, I digress. Cody underscore 1804 says, so Louie, we are frauds now. I want to hear your opinion. I know we exchanged a tweet, but I want more of your opinion. No, I don't think you're a fraud. This doesn't feel like last year's Packers team. I can tell you, though, this looked like last year's Packers team when you went up against San Francisco. That felt like the 49ers 2 games from last year. That's what that felt like to me. This team seems a little bit more well put together. Like last year, I never felt like Rodgers was comfortable with what was going on with Matt LaFleur. I always felt like there was a little bit of a disconnect there. I think those two are on the right page together. And I just think this game got away from you for whatever reason. You know, the turnovers were big. When Rodgers hadn't thrown 2 interceptions since 2017. Let that sink in. I mean, you got to give the Bucs defense some credit. But that first pick, it's a bad throw by Rodgers. That's the same pick that Brady had picked off the exact same spot on the field by the Chargers just a couple of weeks ago. It's a bad throw by Rodgers. We don't see that from him very often. So I just felt like the onslaught came when the avalanche hit, and they couldn't stop the tide. They couldn't just stem that tide and stop momentum from going downhill the way it was. And it just the floodgates opened and they didn't have any answers. The dam broke, and I still like this Packers football team. But that's the blueprint. Until you guys change the narrative, that's the blueprint. Get to Aaron Rodgers. Slow the run game down, which I never really thought the Bucs did in this game. I thought you ran it really effectively, and the score dictated that the run game had to come to a cease. But I really thought you ran it effectively, and that the score took you out of the ability to run it. And they started teeing off because they knew you had to throw. And they just turned the dogs loose. And my God, is Devin White an animal or what? He was everywhere. Man, that guy's good. They got a really aggressive defense in Tampa. And if they can be consistent, they're not consistent right now. But if they can be more consistent, they're a dangerous team because, as I mentioned already, them and Chicago, they're the only 2 teams in the NFC that play any defense. So that's scary. But I still like this Packers football team. I don't think you're frauds, but the book is out. Get to Rodgers. Make him uncomfortable. And you can stymie that offense. We saw it last year with the 49ers. We see it again here with the Buccaneers. You have to find a way. When things break down, you've got to find a way to still be able to function. Right now, when things break down, this team is not able to function. It's almost as if there's a script, and they've got to be able to stay within the script. Anytime they get outside it, and I remember Matt LaFleur saying this in the second game versus the 49ers. I remember him saying, we can't stop running the football. Even if we're down 3 scores, we've got to stay on schedule. And that's the kind of thinking that scares me with this Packers team, because in the past, when shit would break down, you could just turn the game over to Aaron Rodgers and he could deliver for you. Even when shit wasn't going right, Rodgers could throw it 51 times and give you a shot. With this team, the way it's set up, it's like there's this imaginary script. And we've got to stay as close to this script as possible. And if we deviate too far from the script, we're going to get our asses whooped. And that's what I've seen from this team. When you've been successful, there's been this balance between run and pass and play action, fake, and everything's in synchronicity, and it's beautiful. It's harmonious. It looks great. But when that script is deviated from, and now you got to do some things that Matt LaFleur isn't comfortable with, that's when you see this team kind of get off kilter. And you got to fix that. You got to find a way to overcome some of this adversity. But I don't think you're frauds. Reese says, we really should be 5-1 right now, Lou. We're one of the NFC's best teams. When this defense is on, we're hard to beat. I agree with that. Now, you shouldn't be 5-1. You lost the games that you lost. That's revisionist history. You're 4-2. You're fine with being 4-2 because you look like one of the best teams in the NFC. And that's all that matters. 5-1, 4-2. The only difference that makes is when we start talking about getting that first round bye in the NFC, there's only one to go around. So you want to try to get your hands on that. But at the end of the day, you're 4-2, but those are impressive wins. You know, those are impressive wins. The Chargers, they're not a pushover. Anybody that tells you otherwise is foolish and hasn't been watching football. That was a big win. You were down 24-7 in that game and rallied back and scored, 24 unanswered points. So you're an impressive team right now. You're a really impressive team, and that was like you said, a statement win today. Absolutely. Brian says, a lot of hate towards Ron today. Do you think Kyle Allen is QB1 for the rest of the season, or are we going with Alex Smith? I don't know about for the rest of the season. It's hard to say. Ron did one of those lukewarm endorsements after the game. Obviously, he's going to want to watch the film. I think he's going to start next week versus Dallas. I think he gives us the best chance to win, personally. There's a lot of hate. There was a lot of hate towards Ron. I'm catching a lot of heat today, and I don't mind that. My shoulders are broad. I say what I say. I mean what I say, and I don't shy away from what I say. I thought he played well today. The turnovers were a killer. You can't have them. But look, we had 8 possessions offensively today. We punted once. Okay? We came into this game leading the league in punts. Okay? That's the thing that people don't understand is that, I had my man Derek B say, 6 yards per attempt for Dwayne, 6.4 yards attempt for Kyle Allen. This offense didn't score any more points than they've been scoring with Dwayne. And don't tell me that this offense didn't look better, because it did. And I know what my eyes see. Like I said, I've never claimed to be anything more than a professional football watcher. Nothing more, nothing less. I know what these eyes see. And I'm going to give it to you raw and straight, no chaser. We punted once today. One time. We had drives of 14, 13, 12, and 11 twice today of these double-digit drives. Now, they didn't always produce points, and that's the problem, is you got to score. But don't tell me that this offense didn't function better, because it did. And for me, if you're Ron Rivera, you got to keep rolling with Kyle Allen, because he gives you the best chance to win. The mistakes, it's just like Colt McCoy. When Jay Gruden would put him out there, Colt probably gave us the best chance to win. Once you got past the Kirk Cousins era, Colt probably knew the offense the best, gave us the best chance. But you knew turnovers were going to be a problem, but he gave you the best chance because he knew the offense. Niners fan says, I'm not going to quit believing in Jimmy. I know what he's done for this team. I'll continue believing in him during this tough upcoming stretch. You've always been a supporter, just like I have. A lot of 49ers fans have been ready to turn their back on Jimmy for a long time. And Jimmy's had his moments where you say, come on, man, you got to be better than that. I mean, the Super Bowl is a great example of that. That final drive, you got Emmanuel Sanders running down the field. If not a touchdown, you're down inside the 5-yard line. You've got to hit him. He missed him by like 3 yards. I understand that there are faults with Jimmy. He's not perfect. There are holes in his game. But this guy has talent. And he's played in some big games, and he showed up in some big games. I like Jimmy a lot. And I know you do as well. Cody_1804 says, I could see us being 4-3 by the end of the next couple weeks. Watson will carve us up, and if Back is out, they will pressure Rodgers. You talking about Bakhtiari. And the 49ers, so I don't think you're going to lose to the Texans. I don't. The Texans they're having issues winning ball games. Watson may do some damage, but Rodgers, that defense is not good in Houston, okay? They're giving it up every single week. Rodgers will eat those guys alive. And if it has to turn into a shootout, you're more than capable of taking it there with them and putting up 37 and outscoring them 37-34 if that's what it takes. You did it on a Sunday night versus the Saints when you had to score 37 and beat them 37-30. You can do it again against a Texans team that can't seem to find a way to win ball games and stop anybody. I don't see you losing to them. Maybe the 49ers, but not to the Texans. Assist_ says, well, this is what happens when you set a high expectation for a young man, #HTTR. Man, we have the worst fan base. Bevy, they are quick to jump on winning and losing mindsets. This is what 20 years of losing unconditionally does to you. You don't know if you're coming or going. You don't know if you're mad or you're sad. You don't know if you're happy, glad, or indifferent. You don't know how to feel. They've confused this fan base so badly that they just don't know what the hell they want. You know, the name of the game is to win. And everybody wants to tank for this guy or that guy, and they're just missing the big picture. And that's what happens when you've lost for as long as we have. You don't know anymore. You want your team to look like the team you watched on Sunday night or Monday night or Thursday night, because we don't look like anybody else in the league. We look horrible at times. And so you're like, why can't we look like that team? Or why doesn't our quarterback look like that young quarterback? And it's tough. I understand. I can empathize. I'm a part of this fan base. I'm a part of this hurt that has taken place for over 30 years. It's not just when Dan showed up. We weren't winning before Dan got to Washington. He just made it worse. So I understand where they're coming from. That's why I'll never get mad at them. Even when they frustrate me to no end with some of the way that they think, their mindset is warped. I will never, ever turn my back on them. I won't chastise them, because I've suffered just like they have, and everybody responds to suffering differently. So I can't be upset when somebody wants to tank for Trevor Lawrence and go 1-15, because that's their way of getting out of this misery. That's not the way I see us getting out of the misery, but I can't tell somebody else how they should get out of the misery. Reese says, after our game, it came out that we traded for Steve McClendon from the Jets. What do you know about him? Is he any good? You traded a 6th-round pick for him, essentially. Swapped, I think, a 7th in 2023 and a 6th in 2022. He's a run-stopping defensive tackle. That's all you need to know. You're not getting anything else out of him. You lost Vita Vea. And you saw after this game, the reason you did it so quickly is because the Packers were gashing you in the run game. And that's not something you're used to giving up. You're not used to getting hit in the run game for some big chunks, but there are a couple of nice hits in this game by the Packers, and they said, okay, that shit has to stop, because that's not who we are defensively. So you go out and you get Steve McClendon. He's a big-bodied defensive tackle that will eat up a ton of space, and that's going to help your run defense. That's all you need to know about Steve McClendon. Brian says, like the stream, y'all. Get Louie T out there. I appreciate it. And as the man said, hit the like button. If you're out there and you're watching, hit the like button. I appreciate that, Brian. Reese says, I don't think Jared Goff is very good, Lou. He has never done anything that has blown me away. He's never done anything that has blown me away either, but he's a really good quarterback. I disagree with you. There have been games where I've watched him. I remember it's a Rams-Vikings Monday night game, 2017 season, when the Rams were unstoppable offensively. Or 2018 season, excuse me. I think it was 2018 season. Monday night game. Or was it a Sunday night game? I think it was a Sunday. It might have been a Sunday night. I think the Monday night game was the Chiefs game when they went off. He was outstanding in that game too, but I more so enjoyed him in the Vikings game. I thought he was ridiculous that night. Just, he could not miss. He was like a shooter that was like literally hot, and just everything that he threw up at the basket was going in. And everything that he threw that night was pinpoint accurate, gave his team a chance. They smoked the Vikings that night, and Jared Goff was the biggest reason why. I mean, Goff is a good football player. He's perfect for that offense because he's not going to make a ton of mistakes. He's gonna be accurate with the football more times than not, and he's going to give his team a chance. He runs that offense the way McVay wants it run. I like him. He's nothing special, like you said, but he's perfect for what they do. Niners fan says, I'm sorry, but even though our secondary was good today, they are way too inconsistent. Don't let this game fool you. Oh, I'm aware of this. Now, I like Emmanuel Mosley, but if Dick Sherman comes back healthy and you've got Jason Verrett playing the way that he's playing, it just gives you more depth out there. And, the safety position, you got to stay healthy. But when you got Jaquiski Tartt and company back there and they're healthy, I like your secondary. I think your secondary is going to be fine. They just have to stay healthy. That's the problem. When you got guys in and out of the lineup and cycling through, that's when you start having the issues. Gregory Lightbody says, I expected much more from Chase Young and Montez Sweat today. As did I. I'm going to watch the film, but I wasn't really pleased with Chase Young's rushes today. And he had some one-on-one matchups, unlike last week where he was primarily double-teamed. I just didn't think they were really effective rushes for the most part. And he's going to have to continue to figure some things out. You know, that's part of the growing process of a young player. Like he said, he added some power rushes, some bull rushes. But I want to see the speed. I don't think he's using the speed. I think he's so concentrated on trying to work these bull rushes. I need him to use his speed a little bit more. And the hands aren't what I need them to be. So he'll figure it out. I'm not worried about him. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. Cody_1804 says, the difference between this game and the 49ers game is we controlled this, but we shot ourselves in the foot and never recovered. While I agree with that, because you were up 10-0 and you had a little bit of a rhythm, Rodgers missed a wide open Mercedes Lewis over the middle of the field. That's a pass he hits usually in his sleep. You know, those were opportunities that, again, opportunity to stop the bleeding, and you didn't. You had a chance to Marquez Scalding to MVS. God damn. Valdez Scantling. Good gracious. You had a chance to hit him deep. And Rodgers just missed him. Like, there were opportunities in this game. Rodgers just missed. But that's what happens when you rattle his cage a bit. If this felt like the 49ers game, it did to me. I understand where you're coming from, but it was eerily similar for me. Reese says, that's what that punk Jamal Williams gets for talking shit about Tom Brady. I didn't think that was smart on his part. I really didn't. Anyhow. Juan Gotti Talking Sports says, your Braves just blew a 3-0 lead. We weren't up 3-0. We were up 3-1. It doesn't sting. I saw it coming. When we didn't take it, we had an opportunity in Game 5. We were up 3-0. We were up 2-0 and then 2-1. And we had it. No, it was 2-0. I was right. And we had a chance to go up 3-0 in that game. And we had a base running error. And it changed the whole complexion of the series, if you ask me. And so I knew that was going to happen. It's not a surprise, and I'm not mad. It's a young baseball team that's figuring some shit out, and we're going to be back, and we're going to win. We're going to win a title with this group because we're talented and we're young, and we're not going anywhere anytime soon. So I feel good. We run the NL East. We don't have to worry about it. Just like the Dodgers run the NL West, and they've won it 8 straight times. We've won the NL East 3 straight times, and we're going to continue to win that division, and we're going to give ourselves a chance. We got young arms. All right, Mike Soroka isn't even here. He's hurt. I don't want to do this baseball thing with you because I could, but I'm not. I'm okay with the Braves. We're fine. We're a young team. We had an opportunity, a great opportunity, and we blew it. Gregory Lightbody says, Terry McLaurin is definitely not the Redskins wide receiver bust that only had one good season. No, Terry's fine. You know, Terry continues to be consistent. We just don't have another guy opposite of him. RG3 hashtag says, let's talk about Jason Verrett. This man is Carson Wentz and Jordan Reed at cornerback. No. I mean, yes. Okay, yeah. He's talented, just like those guys are. Uber talented. Injuries. Not necessarily Wentz, more Jordan Reed than Wentz, because Wentz has played a little bit more, and I think Wentz is going to stay relatively healthy. He's more Reed than anything else, where you see the talent, had one massive year, but injuries have really hurt him throughout his career. I think Jordan Reed is a more apt comparison there. Reese says, we don't win that game with Jameis. Tom Brady is changing our culture. He's teaching us to expect to win. You're right. Absolutely. That's what you get with a GOAT. That's why I told you, it's a process. You know? But at the same time, you haven't won those close games against good teams. That's what I want to see. You know, the close games like the Saints game and the Bears game against good teams, you haven't won those games. You're a front runner right now. That's the way I see it. Now, the Chargers aren't a good team, but that was a hell of a comeback. You're only down 10-0. Let's not act like this was the Chargers game where you were down 24-7. Now, then I would have been like, wow. Like, Jameis could have come back from a 10-point lead. You're right. I don't think you would have, but Jameis he'd come back from 10-point deficits. Like, let's not make it seem like you were down 24-0 in this game. You were down 10-0. They had the momentum, and you wrestled it away. However, I want to see when the game gets tight and teams are putting pressure on Brady, what do you do? Because I was so impressed with your offensive line in this game. I thought the Packers would be able to put more pressure on Brady. He was comfortable back there. They didn't really fluster him. They didn't stop Jones in the backfield, and so he went over 100 yards again, and he was impressive. I want to give credit to this offensive line because I thought the Packers would rattle his cage and make Brady uncomfortable and maybe force him into a mistake or two, and that never came to fruition. This offensive line, all the shit that we talk about these guys, they held it down in this game. They were impressive. Emperor Meat says, I want to thank you and your bum-ass team for ruining my day. Y'all had one job and couldn't even beat the putrid Giants. Kyle Allen's bum-ass smiling all game. He turned the ball over, shaking my head. I'm sorry. What did I tell you, though? And I told you this is clear as day. Simple and plain. I said, we're not good enough to beat you without help. So help me help you. I told you that. Did I not tell you that? I said, don't expect us to just go out and run you. We're not good enough. We need help, which means we needed you to turn it over 2 or 3 times in this game. You only turned it over once. We needed you to be 3 of 11 on third downs. You weren't that bad on third down. We needed you to stink in the first half to give us momentum. You weren't bad in the first half. You guys did what we couldn't do, which was make the least amount of mistakes. You made some mistakes. You didn't make as many as we did. And I told you specifically, if you want us to beat you, help us. You didn't help us. So you didn't get what you wanted. I gave you clear instructions and you fumbled it. That's not my fault. Emperor Meat says, how the hell do you lose a game Daniel Jones gifted you? Kyle Allen wanted to one-up Jones with another 2 turnovers. Now y'all got these fans talking about winning the division. Disgusting. I love it. Now you're going to beat the Eagles. We need y'all to do our dirty work. Because the Eagles are, to me, the only other threat in the division with the Cowboys. I'm not worried about y'all. You know it. I know it. You stink. We stink too. Don't get it twisted, which is why you beat us. But I think we're still better than you. And so I don't expect you to do. You can't beat good teams or even teams that are just slightly better than trash, which we aren't, with Daniel Jones throwing for like 111 yards. You're not beating anybody doing that shit. He can't be your leading rusher and your leading passer. That's not how your team is set up, but that's how you got it done today. You guys are trash, just like we are. You're not going to do anything, but I need you to believe that you can. That's what's going to make this division fun, because if you think you're trash and your team knows they're trash, then everybody else in the division is going to beat up on you, and that's not going to help us have a chance to win the division, because we need everyone to beat up on each other. Nobody can go 5-1 in this division. The team that goes 4-2, 5-1 in this division is going to win the division. The way you stop somebody from going 5-1 in the division is to have everybody in the division thinking they got a shot. If you're 0-6, you're going to start to think, man, we can't beat anybody. And that's not what we need. So if giving you a little bit of confidence is what we needed to do to get you to then beat Philadelphia on Thursday Night Football, so be it. And look, people call me delusional, and I probably am delusional, okay? But we got a shot. This division is so bad, we got a shot. Assist_ says, yeah, we can't just tank every year because the guys we have right now will leave because they don't win, and tanking will be useless. We have to win with the guys we have. You have to change that mindset. My man Ree is just talking about how Tom Brady has come to their team and changed their mindset. They expect to win. You need to have players that believe, or else guys get sick of losing. And at some point, my loyalty to your organization is going to be trumped by the opportunity to win elsewhere. You know, at some point, if I'm competitive enough, I'm done with this bullshit. I don't want to keep losing games. I want to go somewhere where they've got their shit together and I got a shot to win. I don't want to keep playing and losing 10, 11 games every year. That's for the birds. Lord Bigger says, I've ranted so much on my channel about why Haskins is trash. It's pointless. These dudes just don't get it. Shaking my head. I'm still on board with the white Mike Vick. LOL. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, that was hilarious. Somebody called him Vanilla Vick. That That was my favorite line in the community today on Flick. And if you're a Washington fan or you're just a fan and you want to chop it up watching any game for that matter, you can join my Flick community, but it's really for Washington fans. But, you know, in the comments today, somebody called Daniel Jones Vanilla Vic. We made him look like it at one point today. Reese says Gronk looked somewhat Gronk today. A couple of big catches and a Gronk spike. He looked really good. Those are some great passes by Brady. My God, were those some accurate balls. Gronk didn't have to do anything but just literally put his arm like this, and the ball just fell in there. Brady's so good. When he's on, man, there isn't anyone better. My goodness. But Gronk did look good today. And you know what's funny is he said, you'll see a different Gronk and Brady today. We feel like we figured some things out, and it looked like it today. And, you know, if he comes alive, that's what you need. You need that tight end position. Especially with OJ out, if he comes alive, you're going to be that much harder to stop offensively. Reese says, it looks like Tom's decision to leave New England for Tampa seems justified. We're 4-2 and they're 2-3. Well, guess what? If Tom were in New England, they'd probably be 5-1, 6-0 right now. Like the games that they've lost were very winnable games. So if he's there, he's the difference. So you can't really say that. Cody _ says, I am sorry, Lou, but I disagree. I felt like we could have won this game. Both Niner games right away, it felt like we had lost. I understand where you're coming from. I thought you were going to win this game. I was shocked at how quickly this game got out of control and got away from you. You know? But the turnovers will do that to you. You know, but I understand where you're coming from. You had a 10-point lead early in this game. You felt like you were dominating this game. And then all of a sudden, the second quarter happened. But I'm just telling you, in the moment as that avalanche started to hit and Ndamukong Suh started to get to Rodgers and Levante David got to Rodgers and they're blitzing the draws off of him and he's got nowhere to go. It felt like San Francisco all over again. Like, oh my God, he's a sitting duck back there. They can't protect him. He's running for his life and he's got nowhere to go. That's the element that felt like, oh my God, this feels like San Francisco all over again. Like he had no answer and Matt LaFleur had no answer. That's why it felt like San Francisco all over again to me. Gregory Lightbody says, the Jets are going to have a trading spree very soon. Every player except Makai is available. Man, they're awful. And until they move on from Adam Gase, it's only going to get worse. Now there's infighting between coaches. You know, Greg Williams is starting to speak his piece. Adam Gase isn't happy about it. They're the worst dumpster fire in the league. They are a mess. Absolutely the worst. Cody _ says, Aaron looked deflated after that pick six. I quite literally felt sick, like I was going to puke after this game. It felt like he never really recovered after the second pick. I thought the first one, it was like, wow, okay, threw a pick six. That's not Aaron Rodgers like, but shit happens. I thought after the second pick, which was kind of flukish, I thought that was the one that really kind of rattled his cage a bit, because then he missed that ball to Mercedes Lewis over the middle, and that's a ball that Rodgers just doesn't miss. So I really think that that second one really rattled his cage. Reese says, Levante David is so good. This man never gets enough respect. One of the truly great backers of this era. It's amazing. Guys like him kind of get caught in a wash because he's played for a Buccaneers team that hasn't been very good. But he's been one of those mainstays and guys that every year, year in, year out, you just expect them to just play extremely good football. You know what you're getting from this guy. And as you mentioned, he hasn't gotten enough credit. And, you know, part of the reason is because of him playing in Tampa and them not having success. But that could all change. If he continues to play well, this team plays well, he's going to get the recognition that he deserves. Reese says, Ndamukong Suh is still dirty. LOL. He's just smarter about it. Yeah, he's never going to change. That's who he is. It's in his DNA. It is what it is. Lord Bigger says, no D-riding, but you're definitely the captain of the Washington football team fan base. We rock with you, bro. I appreciate that, man. Look, I caught a lot of flack today, and I don't mind. I've been called delusional at least 20 times today. At least minimum 20 times a day. I got people questioning my football acumen, which it doesn't bother me. It does not bother me one bit because I have conviction and beliefs. And when those beliefs change, I will let you guys know. But until then, I'm sticking to my guns. This was not a terrible performance. I told you the only thing that would rattle my cage as a Washington fan leaving this game is if the Giants dominate us. If we lost this game 30-13, I'm coming away from this saying we are one of the worst teams in football. That top 5 pick you guys have been talking about, that shit's within reach. But that's not what happened today. We were a fumble and a failed 2-point conversion and a missed field goal. You could pick any of those plays you want. All of them cost us this game. But any one of those plays don't go the way that they go, we win this game. And I feel good knowing that the boys are still out there busting their ass, going to give us a chance, and they're going to break through at some point this year. And they're going to win a couple of games. It may not be enough to win this division, but they're going to get hot. And they're going to run off 2 or 3. We did it last year when we won a couple of games. And remember, we started talking crazy. And that's what Giants fans are probably doing right now. Remember, we won a couple of games last year, if you recall, in a row, 2. And all of a sudden, we had 3 wins. And now, everybody was looking around like, hey, we beat Carolina, we beat Detroit. If we can go to Green Bay, here we go. We're not out of this thing yet. We were talking crazy. Our team was horrible, and I wouldn't allow it last year. This year is different because this team isn't terrible. We're just not good, okay? We're not as bad. Last year, we were terrible. That's not the case this year. We're just young and dumb. And when you're young and dumb, you make mistakes. And we've made a bunch of mistakes this year that have cost us ball games. But we're competing. And we got a guy, I really believe this, and fans have been killing me about this all day. We got a guy at quarterback that's going to give us a chance. Now, he's going to turn the football over. You got to take the good with the bad. But he's going to give us a chance. He's going to give us a chance. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for that comment, Lord Bigger. I really appreciate you. Cody _ says, if, and this is a big if, we are in the NFC Championship game versus Tampa, and it's at Lambeau Field, I feel like we can win. But I said the same thing last year. I believe that to be a fact too. I don't think, and let me reiterate what I'm saying to you, because I think where our signals are getting crossed is that I told you this game felt like the 49ers game. I'm not telling you that this is a 49ers situation where it's just a bad matchup and you can't beat them. We knew that last year. Like, we don't need to see this again. When we saw it in the regular season, I'm like, you don't want to play the 49ers again. That's a bad matchup for you. Okay? You don't want to see these boys. That's a bad move. That's bad news for you if you got to play them again. And you did, and the same result happened. That's not what I'm saying. I just told you it felt like that in the moment watching it. It felt like San Francisco all over again. But that's the difference between this year and last year. That's why I told you, I don't feel like you're a fraud. Last year, I did, because I didn't think you could beat a team like that last year. I do think you can beat the Buccaneers. I do think that this was just one of those situations where it got away from you. And if this game is in Lambeau, and I do think you're going to play them again. I do think you're 2 of the better teams. I do see this, and I think Troy Aikman said this, that this is going to be a matchup that we see again in January. I firmly believe that. We will see these 2 teams playing each other again. And the outcome may be totally different. And I do believe that. Reese says, do you think we have a good chance to beat the Raiders? I think Gruden wants to whoop our ass. Yeah, you got a good chance to beat the Raiders. The Raiders are, they showed me something last week, but they're still the Raiders. You know, they beat you, and now I'm thinking, okay, the Saints, the Chiefs, and the Bucks? Okay, I got to stop disrespecting the Raiders. I don't think they're going to beat you next week. I don't. Kevin the PRF says, does the Dallas talented offense lift Dalton's production, or does Dalton drag the offense down? It could go either way. We're going to see. Dalton is talented enough. We've seen him. He took the Bengals to the playoffs 8 straight years, 7 straight years, something like that. Okay, he's fully capable, is Andy Dalton. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and act as if Dalton isn't capable. He's fully capable. Back in 2015, might have been 2016, I think it was 2015, the man was playing at an MVP level before he broke his hand at the end of that season. So Andy Dalton's fully capable. I'm anxious to see what he does. Do they start running the ball more? Or I think Mike McCarthy is incapable of running the football effectively. And so I think they're going to put the ball in the hands of Andy Dalton, and I don't know if he's ready for that role or not. We'll see. Cody _ says, yeah, I get you, Lou. Like I said, like I always say, we shall see. I think that's the case. Reese says, Adam Gase is still employed. The hell? I don't know how he still has a job. You, me, and everybody else is wondering the same damn thing, but that is the case. We've hit the hour mark. I'm going to glide to the side. I thank you guys for joining me tonight. Big win for the 49ers. Gets them back to 500 on the season at 3-3 with this massive 24-16 victory. And what it also does is it gets that goose egg out of the left-hand column within the division. Remember, they lost in week 1 to the Arizona Cardinals, so they needed to win this game to get off the schneid in the division and get on the board there as well. So this is a big win, not only overall, but also in the division. They're now 3-3, and they're playing exceptional football. And this was a big win for them. Meanwhile, the Rams, a lot of question marks. You know, you haven't beat anybody good this season. You got 4 wins. You're over 500. You're playing good football, but how good are you really? I think now there are more questions than there were coming into this game. You only scored 16. You scored 17 a couple of weeks ago against the Giants. How good is this offense anyway? We'll have to find out. But they dropped this game, and there are more questions than answers after this loss for the Rams, as they're now 4-2 on the season. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. Remember, if you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Hit that subscribe button. Also, turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And hit that like button on the way out. I thank you guys for continuing to rock with me. And I appreciate you guys and for what you do. And we'll do it again tomorrow. LouieTeeNetwork podcast. Breaking all these games down and then some. I'll see you guys then. Enjoy the rest of your night. Remember, if it's not your man T, it's not, I repeat, not the best NFL coverage it could be. Until next time, you guys, take care. Have a good one.
LouieTeeNetwork.